Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm exploring Adobe Fresco's latest feature, the Symmetry Tool. I'm so excited to share this with you guys, so without further ado, let's jump right in. To start using the Symmetry Tool, tap on the Precision panel, then tap on Symmetry and toggle it on. As soon as you toggle it on, you'll see a line appear on your canvas. This is the axis. Think of it as the line that divides your canvas. Depending on which symmetry setting you select, that will determine the amount of axes that are on your canvas. You also see that there are 7 types of reflective symmetry options and 6 types of rotational symmetry options. You also have the option of moving your guides, aka your axes. Fresco refers to axes as guides, so that's how I'll refer to them from this point on. But you can toggle this on to move your guides, and I'll show you why that's helpful in a bit. We'll leave it off for now, and I'll start with the first reflective symmetry tool that has one guide in the center. So in case you're wondering what exactly the symmetry tool, it's just a feature that allows you to create symmetrical drawings by mirroring your strokes across a defined axis, aka guides here. By mirroring your strokes across a defined guide, you can easily make balanced and harmonious designs. This is super handy for creating things like mandalas, patterns, or any artwork that needs a little symmetrical touch. So now instead of drawing directly on or near the guide, I can actually draw outside of the guide. So I'm drawing a flower on the outside and you see it's still mirroring that drawing. But as you can tell, my flower looks horrendous. So this is where the move your guides tool or setting can come in handy. I can actually move my guide to go where this flower is that I want to draw, and I can use this guide to create a symmetrical drawing here to make my flower look nicer, more symmetrical. So that is a really nice feature. I love that we can move the guides or move the axes, however you want to call it. But this is amazing, especially if you like creating really clean designs. So now that I'm pretty much done finalizing this flower, you'll see that it's not appearing on the left side of my screen because obviously my axes or my guides on the right side. But in case you want to figure out how can you fix that, you can just literally select that flower drawing and duplicate it and just drag it on to the left side in case you're wondering like, hey, how do I fix this? But yeah, that's just my little tip on how to work with that in case you want to kind of move around your guides. You can just duplicate some of your designs. So moving on to the next reflective symmetry tool, this one's going to be a horizontal guide. You can see here it's directly in the center. And again, I can play around with the placement of it as well in case you want to, maybe add some leaves to some of your flowers. So I'll actually pull it up. And another thing is, if you grab this little blue dot, you can actually change the angle of your guide. I love this because it's super helpful when it comes to the drawing process. I have this flower over here, but I want the leaves to be on this diagonal axis. So the cool thing is you can adjust the angle for any of the reflective or rotational symmetry selections here. Just make sure you have move guides toggled on. Now I've selected the reflective tool with 4 guides. So you can see here I can draw a flower really easily. It's really fun to use. Honestly, I love drawing flowers with the symmetry tool. You can also change the way your flowers look by adding more petals. Like in this portion, I still have the same symmetry tool selected with 4 guides, but the flower looks different. We can even change the look by adding some petals surrounding the flower in case you want to try that as well. Now let's try the reflection tool with 5 guides. I'm going to move it on to the right side of my canvas to show you guys that now there are 5 guides on my canvas. And again, the same thing's happening. There's just a reflection happening as I draw, but the more lines or the more guides you add, you can add more detail. There's a lot more reflections that can happen. So think of it as like the more guides, the more detail you can add, in my opinion. That's more precise. Obviously, you can add a lot more detail if it's just 1 or 2 guides, but if you want really precise details, you can definitely increase the amount of guides. And in this case, there are 6 different styles of reflective guides on Adobe Fresco. Right now, this one actually has 8 different guides, and you can see here the level of detail increases with the amount of guides. Now let's move on to one that has 10 guides. I'll go ahead and move it onto a different part of my canvas. This one has 10 guides, and now when I draw a flower, you can see we can add a lot more precise detail to it as well. I just want to say big thanks to Adobe Fresco for implementing this new feature. We've been waiting for a long time. And now let's add the one with 12 guides. So now this one's going to have 12 different lines on the canvas. Make sure you have move guides turned off because then you'll constantly be moving your guides. But again, you can see here I can add a lot of detail, continue to add lines to my design. It's just honestly really fun to play with, really fun to use. You can create some really cool, amazing effects with this feature. That covers all of the reflective symmetry selections, and we can now move on to the rotational symmetry selections. So what is rotational symmetry? Rotational symmetry just lets you create patterns that repeat themselves in a circle as you rotate them. With the first rotational selection, you can see with my happy face, the mirroring is occurring at an angle and not directly across. You can see the same thing happening even if I change my rotational symmetry to a horizontal line. Next, I'll select the selection with three guides, and something important is happening. The main thing about rotational symmetry is that I can draw across a guide almost like a kaleidoscope. When you're working with rotational symmetry, the process stays consistent no matter how many guides you use. Whether you choose to have one, three, four, five, or six guides, these are just markers to help you align your design as it rotates. Think of them as invisible lines that divide your canvas into equal parts, ensuring that your artwork looks balanced and harmonious at every turn. So those are the reflective and rotational symmetry selections. And now for fun, watch me create this fun flower using the symmetry reflective selection with 10 guides. This was super fun to create, and I can definitely see myself using this in client work. For this flower, I also added color, and I used the watercolor brushes in Adobe Fresco. Those are really fun to use in case you guys haven't checked them out yet. And last but not least, this is just one of my other favorite features that I love about Adobe Fresco is adjusting the hue and saturation of your design. So I can go into this panel and adjust the color properties of whatever's underneath that layer. So what a fun tool. I love Adobe Fresco. You guys already know this is my go-to drawing app. If you guys haven't tried it out, definitely check it out. I'll put a link in the description for you guys to check out Adobe Fresco. So many fun and cool new features that they're adding to this app. Love the vector brushes. Love that they added the symmetry tool. If you guys are into it, you guys should definitely check it out. And if you guys enjoy this video, please leave me a like, subscribe to my content, or leave me a comment. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.